Hello there, how you doing? Now, with FM23 out in beta form, it's time to give you some teams that I think are good challenges to manage. Now, admittedly, this is my list, so feel free to give your own options in the comments down below, and maybe we do another video just like this with your suggestions. But let's delve in then to the 7 teams that I think are worth managing this year. What I've got is different types of challenges and different types of clubs and different types of places around Europe to begin with, quite a few in England as well. So let's start with number 1. And we'll start obvious, is Derby County. So one of the most talked about teams in England in recent times has been Derby County. Let's go take a look at them then. They're a team that have found it difficult recently. Financially, they've had some real struggles, and of course Wayne Rooney was in charge for a certain period as well, which saw them relegated eventually from the Championship after a huge point deduction. They find themselves now then in the 3rd tier of England, and let's get them back to former glory. In the 70s they were winning top division titles, and that's the goal with this Derby team. Don't just get them back in the Championship, get them further, put them back where they probably feel they may well belong. So that's the goal. The squad is an interesting team made up of players that have obviously been recruited with very little money to spend, but also a team that have been with them for a little bit of time now. The likes of Liam Thompson and Max Bird, as well as Curtis Davis at the back. Their core, it's not too bad at all, and there's definitely potential in this team to be promoted at the first time of asking. Jason Knight is certainly one of their star players, can play a number of roles, a jack of all trades and a master of some, so definitely someone to get the most out of. But for me, as I mentioned him a moment ago, Max Bird is the star of the show. 21 years of age. If you can hold on to him, wanted by plenty of championship clubs and potentially some lower level Premier League ones as well, he's the guy you can kind of build everything around. Only 21. Focus on him. They've also got a bit of a loan army. You can see from the potential of that, it's a pretty good one. Hayden Roberts definitely the star of it from Brighton. Really solid defensive option for them, and definitely someone they have to get the most out of while available to them. The transfer budget for Derby is, well, nothing. There's not anything to spend there. The wage budget is the same. So in season 1, you're very much left to your own resources, unless you decide to play a bit of the transfer game and sell someone like Max Bird or Louis Sibley, and maybe recycle things a little bit and try and fast track your way there with some of your own players. But that first season, again in League One, you look at the ability in the season preview, they are a favourite to get promoted once again, so the team is there and ready for you to make the most of. And the finances, since their takeover more recently, are pretty stable. 4.2 million, it means that in future seasons you should be absolutely fine, but of course there's a few players on decent wages to keep you steady. And the facilities at Derby aren't too bad. Youth recruitment could do with a little bit of work, right? Youth facilities and training facilities, not too bad. They are Premier League ready by lots of different standards, right? A 33,500 seating capacity at Pride Park, which I think has got a different name, but is it back to Pride Park? It is Pride Park Stadium. I think it was called the iPro for a number of years, but I like the fact it's there. We'll see if you can restore the pride in Derby and get them back where, again, they probably feel like they belong. Quite a nice home shirt as well. I'm a fan of that. Derby, I imagine, is on quite a lot of lists, but a team that might not be on yours is one of the bigger boys from Spain, but not the biggest of boys. Let's take a look at Real Betis. Now, Real Hispalis is their actual name in game, and again, one of those sides in Spain that are looking to put themselves amongst the elite clubs in Spain, but aren't quite there yet. And one of my favourite things about them is that because they've sort of been around for such a long period of time, they've never actually won the league. So you've got a target in mind right there. Of course, you are trying to best some of the best teams in Spain, the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. So that's goal number 1. But again, getting amongst them is sort of goal number 1. And then goal number 2, I guess, is then going on to win a league title, making them a Champions League regular, of course, a target too. And with the players they've got, it's absolutely possible. There's some real shining stars in this team, right? No shinier than Nabil Fekir, who is a fantastic talent. Again, 28 years of age, in his peak, in his prime, in his pomp right now. You have to get the most out of him. But don't sleep on Sergio Canales either, who is a fantastic player in this side and really, really good in Football Manager. In terms of youth players, there's a 16-year-old at Betis as well, Dani Perez. Keep an eye on him. He gets good. And there's a couple others there as well. Spain's youth systems are all normally pretty good. It's whether you can take some of these. You can see from the potential on that side, there are not that many amazing ones other than maybe Paulo Busto, but yeah, him and Perez are fantastic. Try and work them into the first team if possible. You've got the likes of Luis Enrique, who are 21, and again, something there maybe just been brought in from Brazil. That's the sort of player, again, you can potentially build around and look to the future with. Now, the transfer budget at Betis is not amazing. There's not a lot to play with there. And wage budget, it's a similar story. So similar to Derby that we've just been through, you might have to sell to buy, especially in season 1. But again, you've got a real good core of players there that could definitely push you to getting into those Champions League places. And the facilities, well, they're good without being amazing, right? Similar situation to Derby. Again, if we're going to compare Real Betis to Derby, but the training facilities and these facilities are in a good place. But I think that might be the one thing. If you can get those to a higher level, then maybe you're onto something. And the recruitment is good as well. We mentioned this before, right? But 60,000 seats in the stadium. You can see a picture of it there. That gives you the platform to build. And it's a fun build. I would definitely recommend this save to anyone they're looking for. Is again, we're trying to look for different types of challenges in this. I don't want to just do like 7 teams that are basically the same. You've got sort of a second tier save with Derby, and then with this, again, there's real obvious targets to aim for and surpass in Spain. And Real Betis are a really good option for that, especially with the, again, the players they've got at their disposal. Okay, let's go back to England and let's go even lower down than Derby. Now this one I feel kind of bad about. Getting rid of Mark White in the Dorking Wanderers dugout is a mistake, I think. But that's what I've done. And that's what you will have to do if you fancy on taking the challenge of Dorking Wanderers. They have a fantastic YouTube series I definitely recommend you go and watch, which sort of covers their entire journey from where they've been. They had a fantastic year last year. I'd go back and watch it. And again, starting this year, definitely give it a go. I don't want to say it's a classic sort of National League struggle, where it's a classic National League struggle. You are amongst some teams in there that have obviously come down from League 2 and make things very, very difficult. And Dorking, newly into this division, have got a real challenge on their hands. What is nice about this is you can kind of track the YouTube series in part with the save that you're doing at lower league level, and obviously be familiar with the starting squad over at Dorking. Traditionally, in this level of football, you are recycling your team quite often and looking for players in this division to obviously come in and improve you, and trying to snipe those players either released from the bigger clubs around England, or again finding the prospects coming through from the South and North leagues just below you. Within the team, Alfie Rutherford, Ryan Seeger and Josh Taylor, big parts of the YouTube series, obviously now big parts of their team as well, are the guys you have to sort of rally around and get the best out of early on. It's not an easy challenge, it never is in this sort of division. There's a lot of games that go very, very close, and it's sometimes the complete difference between being the best team and the worst team. What you'll find in the National League is sometimes you find yourself competing for the playoffs, and then at the start of next season, you don't win in the first 5. I'm a man with a lot of experience in the National League, if you've been watching the channel before, so you have to trust me on this. A transfer budget of 15,000 isn't anything to get super excited about, and £750 worth of wage budget is maybe enough for one prospect potentially. But yeah, again, with the finances being what they are at 57,000 at this level of football, you're always trying to make the most of very little, and that's what you have here with Dorking. But again, follow their journey on YouTube, get involved on Football Manager, and it could be a partnership of dreams. You'll notice I didn't cover the facilities in this one. They're a National League side. Yeah, that's exactly. They also play on the synthetic pitch, so I mean, there's your facilities chat. And their kit looks like Atletico Madrid. Okay, we must move on. Now, the next team, I'll admit now, you're probably familiar with, and they're in Germany, and they wear yellow and black, and that's right. We're going to Borussia Dortmund. Now, the interesting thing about Dortmund, of course, is that they're a team over the years that have had to sell to move on very often, and they've arguably lost the best player in the game this year to Manchester City in Erling Haaland, of course. And now, the challenge at winning the Bundesliga, when you look at the past winners of the Bundesliga, but Dortmund are always, it seems to be anyway, always seeming to be the nearest challenger to Borussia Dortmund. But can you push them over the edge? That's the question. A Bayern Munich themed edge. Oh dear, it's hard. They've just bought Sadio Mane, of course. Tough. But this Dortmund team is in one of its most exciting periods, I think. It's been in for a very long time. And as if having just a couple of wonder kids wasn't enough, they've even brought in some more. Moukoko is obviously someone to look to. His off the ball has been tampered with a little bit by Football Manager. I wouldn't say he's quite as good as in previous years, but of course at 17, still a talent. But of course they've brought in one of my favourite players from last year's Football Manager. Karim Adeyemi has joined them from RB Salzburg. This is a real coup for me, because they've got him now, of course, having the ability to sell him on in the future to probably Manchester City for about 50 million. Probably going to happen, but the fact he's there right now, you could imagine having those two boys there for the next 15 years. Exactly. The midfield is there to talk about in itself as well, right? Jude Bellingham, if you can keep a hold of him, you've got one of the best up-and-coming midfielders, not just in Germany, but in world football. And pairing him with the likes of Gio Reyna, the American wizard, I'm expecting that team, again, to really develop into something special. It's one of the most exciting, almost wonder kid 11s you're going to find. Jottelbeck has been brought in at the back as well. It's just a really exciting team, but with a huge challenge. And I think the only way you challenge with a team like Dortmund, and yes, you could probably sell all of these assets a couple of years in, Bellingham quicker than most. The challenge of the Bundesliga is obvious. So get it done. Someone stop them. Transfer budget, then you're looking at about £8.5 million, which again is not that much to do with. And 54 million, it gets you one good squad player, you might argue. But again, there's some assets in the Dortmund squad that you could sell to buy. So there's possibilities there. Actually, quite a few of them can be sold on for decent money if that's what you want to do. The finances generally aren't incredibly healthy, but they're good enough. They're German, and yeah, the facilities at Dortmund, I think we've talked about those many times. Superb training, superb youth facilities. It's one of the elite clubs in world football, but not yet capable of winning the league title regularly enough. It's been many years since they last did it. In fact, should we count the last time? 11-12 with Jurgen Klopp. It's time. Someone go and make it happen, please. Bayern have lost Lewandowski. Maybe this is that they've lost Haaland. What am I saying? Musiala's quite good for them as well. Oh, crumbs. All right, bonjour. We're off to France. Auf Wiedersehen? That was German. I guess it works. We're looking then at Saint-Etienne. Now, this team have gone down in France to Ligue 2 at this point, League 2. And for the first time since 2004, find themselves in a perilous position. I say perilous position, they were promoted that year. But they find themselves back in League 2, League 2. Should I call it League 2? I think I probably should do. They've lost points already before the season even starts because of some crowd trouble at the end of last season. But they are a side that I do think you could probably get back towards some former glory. You can see from their history books there, they were finishing 4th, 5th, or they were a contender a few years ago. And then it all sort of fell apart. 17th, 11th with a bit of a bounce back, but 18th last year saw them relegated. And now there's a real job on their hands. But League 2 is a league where if you get stuck there, you could be there for a lot longer than you'd anticipate. Ask Auxerre, who have only just got out after about 10 years of being down there. That could be Saint-Etienne's fate if they're not careful. And they're not even the favourites to win the league. Metz and Bordeaux, Metz both came down with them, are favourites to go up. More so than they are. And again, there's a few other sides down there. Dijon are in there as well. Like some good sides that if they're not at their best at Etienne, they're going to find this difficult. But you can stop that from happening. As much as the key players are important to Saint-Etienne, it's the potential coming through. You've only got to look at those top 4 there. They are producing some really nice footballers. Etienne Green is one of the best young keepers in France right now. Definitely someone to keep a hold of if you can get yourself bouncing straight back up again. And there's a few other guys in there as well. Benjamin, that's a name, that's a challenge. We'll just call him Benjamin. Bouchari. Has just signed from them from Holland, and he could be, again, the playmaker in the middle that you start to build things around. And again, as you work your way back into Ligue 1, which you'd expect you to do at some stage, and then go even further forward, these are some players that you can absolutely keep in your side for the long haul and build everything else around. You look at the 3 positions of these outfield players, that's a core right there that if you get the right players around them, you can keep for a very long time. The transfer budget is not amazing, although next season says it's 7.3 million, so maybe just wait a year. With a wage budget of nothing, you again are relying on the team that you have there and then to make the most of. But yeah, again, there's a lot of quality in there, much like teams that get relegated. They've kept a lot of those players, and the bounce back ability is looking promising. You've got excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, and some really nice youth recruitment, which is not that surprising in France. So it's definitely possible. Again, the bounce back is there to be had. A capacity of 42,000 in the second tier of France doesn't happen very often. This is a team that belong in Ligue 1, and it's your job to get them back up there. It's not really surprising that there's a lot of core and hardcore fans, over half the fan base in Saint-Etienne, so keep them happy. Please keep them happy. All right, it's time to go for a completely new team in Football Manager, one that, if you're familiar with, I don't know where you've heard of them before. They're in Italy. They're formerly called Napoli, no longer called Napoli in game. In game this year, they're a little hard to find because they're called Parthenope, which I think is how you say it, rather than Parthenope. I don't think that's how you say it. I think it's Parthenope. They are a side, of course, Napoli, which I think we're fine to call them Napoli, aren't we? I'm not actually Football Manager. So look, Napoli haven't won the league since the year I was born. 1997? No, they're very kind, but not right. It was 1990, so we are 32 years. Oh, 32 years since their last league win in Serie A. And of course, there's been many sides around them that have been winning it year in, year out, it feels like. No more so than Juventus. I thought they were called Zebra. What happened? What's happened there? But it's been a long, long time. Milan dominated for a period, as did Inter, and even Roma got themselves a league title. But for Napoli, it's been a long time coming. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Napoli's team, but there's some real exciting quality in this side. No more so than this man. How now? Okay. Provincia. Oh, I won't be doing a Napoli save this year just because I can't pronounce his name. That is a drawback, isn't it? I'll tell you what's good for you is YouTube. The thing is, he's your star man. You're going to want to know how to say this.
This is my name.
Okay. He's that's in Georgia. Oh, I've not seen that for 15 years.
You can call me Kvara, but my name is Khvicha Kvaratskhelia.
Right. That didn't help me. He's brilliant in Football Manager. That's all you need to know. 21 years of age, he's one of the stars of this year's game. Just been signed again by Napoli for a handsome fee of 8.5 million, and I think he's going to be well worth it. Min-jae Kim is there as well, one of the best centre-backs in the league already. It's outrageous. Cost them 15 million quid. It looks like a bargain. As well as some familiar faces like Victor Osimhen's there, right? You've got Meret in goal as well. Lozano still part of this side, and some loan acquisitions in Raspadori and Dombele, as well as Giovanni Simeone. Like, it's a really fun team. I'm definitely going to do a Napoli save at some point this year. Probably once I've learned the pronunciation of this man. They still have £15 million to spend as well, so your business might not quite be done. And with a squad like Napoli's, I'll be honest, there's about 5 of them you could sell off the bat and be in pretty good shape. So with the Wonder Kids and their star players, there's definitely potential this year for Napoli to go one better than they have in some recent seasons. They're down as a 4th favourite, so you still have to overcome the likes of Milan, Inter and Juventus, but this squad can do it. Facilities very good as well. The training facilities are top notch, and yeah, like it's one of those sort of finishing projects. We've done a few of those in this save in a few different divisions, but Napoli, like, it's been 32 years. It's time. They are the Liverpool of Italy, like, quite literally. The final team we're doing, people might accuse me of being slightly biased, is no, it's not. It's Brighton. And I'm actually doing a Brighton save over on twitch.tv right now, where we're a few games into our first season. It's going, oh dear, going fine. It's going fine. That was so lovely. Oh my God, what's happening here? The graphics are fine. Okay, guys? But there is a really good reason as to why I think Brighton are a fantastic save. I'm very thankful that my Twitch audience decided that this was the team we were going to do, because they are the most blank of canvases. What? They're the most blank canvases in the Premier League right now. They have, and this is obviously the shining point of them, they have £70 million to spend. Of course, selling the likes of Basuma and Cucurella has left them with this massive budget to go out and do stuff, do whatever you want, honestly. I might have bought Sabolazai from Leipzig, so yeah. But the team itself is really, really strong. Again, a really nice mix of some of the younger players. You look at the likes of Casido, right? Billy Gilmore there now. Tariq Lamptey, really, really strong, as well as players that sort of define Brighton, you might say, like Solly March and Trossard and recently Adam Lallana, but Adam Webster and Lewis Dunk, right? These names we're so familiar with at Brighton. It's a really exciting project there, and sort of following on what Graham Potter did so well there, especially in the early part of the season we're currently going through. They're a really exciting team to try and take a hold of, take them out of maybe sort of a mid-table relegation considered side, and then really push the boundaries of what's possible in getting into those European places. You've seen West Ham do it in recent times. Brighton could be next. The facilities are incredible, both training and youth. The recruitment can do with a little bit of work, but it's all set there. Recently moved into a new ground, of course, like relatively recently, and yeah, everything to make Brighton one of the powerhouses of European football. Okay, maybe I'm going a bit too far, but they're an exciting team to manage. And again, that £70 million budget, only Manchester City in the Premier League have more money to spend. Get in there and spend it. Go on. Alternatively, what should we do over on Twitch? I mean, you've got options, haven't you? So there we are. There's my 7 teams to manage. Hopefully you feel like the guide has been good enough to give you a bit of inspiration for future saves. And again, if you want me to cover a team that you're maybe using right now, or a good save that you think would be fun to tell everybody about, get in the comment section and we'll do another one of these videos, probably for the release on the 8th of November. So yeah, let me know. And also let me know if you're going to try any of the ones I've suggested. All right, subscribe, of course, for more Football Manager content, and I'll see you soon. We're out.